Time to chip these fuel tanks. So I've painted down a layer of XF19 and XF, get it in camera Chris, 66 as a bit of a blend, and yeah, straight over the I've done a couple of layers of chipping fluid, so hopefully this will come off okay. I've got to be real careful because sometimes this usually works really well. Sometimes when I just go like this and give it a stroke, it comes out really quickly. Oh, here we go. I'm starting with the innuendo straight away on this video. Why not? All right, so let's just get it a bit wet. And let's see if I can, we seeing some scratch. Oh, there we go. There's some scratches coming through. Well, you can see it better on the camera than you can see it on the booth. So I'm just doing that, just dragging that just little by little. So what I intend to do is I'm going to do this, get those scratches going. That's not too bad. They're a little bit darker than I thought. I thought I had it a bit shinier. Yeah, I really don't like this. I'm not using, I didn't actually decant some of my $3 store-bought solution. I used a new bottle I just bought. Where is it? Of the AK. Oh no, it's an old bottle actually. Maybe I should have used a new bottle. Yeah, I don't like the way it makes those sort of like Luftwaffe mottles on it. But anyway, what I intend to do is, so I'll chip these all back, make that moist. So this is the other one, so I'll give it a slightly different wear pattern so they're not the same. So I've gone sort of all the way up and down, or maybe I'll just do a little bit on the center here. Yeah, that's good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to hit this with a flat coat, and I'm going to seal it in straight away before I paint the rest of it. Oh, there we go. So we get down to bare metal there. This looks good. And then the other one I need to do the full enchilada. Go for a full length scratch. That's coming off already. There we go. Ooh, quite a bit. And also I can touch it up. So after I put a flat coat on, and even if I've exposed too much, I can touch it up, because that's what they probably did on the real thing. So yeah, a little bit more. There we go. That'll do. So I've done that. No airs and graces around here. I decided to mask up the big sparrows, so they're all ready to go, and all the little sidewinders and big sidewinders. So yeah, I did that first, waited for this to go off flat coat, and then I can load up the airbrush with all my greys and start putting down some different greys and so forth, and seal it all in and get to the next stage and decal these things up. So with the fuel tanks, what I've done is I want to make them a separate sort of tone all over overall. So I finished this one. You can see I've still got a little bit of that chipping showing through down the bottom, and all I've done is, I think this one I basically base coated in Dove Grey, and you can see that's in the middle there. I hope the camera's picking up that range of color. And then I'm doing lots of streaks and other things using stuff like medium mod grey, and then a bit of dark ghost grey. Oop, can you read that? There we go. Yeah, and then highlighting some of these sort of fuel access points as well on the top. So I'm going to leave that as is. That's nice and dirty, and then that'll form a basis for doing a lot of oil and panel line washer work. Whereas the other one, I've hit that. You can see the different colors I've locked in with the flat coat there, with the chipping down the bottom. I'm doing a few little touch-up little paint things here, and I've started to do touch-ups around these fuel access points. So I've used my marbling thing in there, and I've done lots of streaks, okay, and that is mainly in dark ghost grey, and I've replicated that with the tiny little Tamiya one, as I've replicated the finished one with the other side. So that's the same color palette. So let's just compare the two. As you can see, they're pretty much the same. Right, so what I need to do now is I'm going to go over with both of these with, I might add a little bit more of the blue grey, just doing some touch-ups, and then I'll hit it with, where are you little fella? US medium grey. That'll be the final coat for those ones. So whilst I'm doing that, or while I was doing that, painted a couple of sparrows, made them a little bit different. This one's got dark iron fins, this one doesn't, but they're, you know, slightly different colors. That's not the actual call out colors, but that's the thing. They were painted in whatever, well, I'm not going for complete you know, color accuracy. We've got one sidewinder done. I think that was mainly in the dark ghost grey. Yeah, I just want to change it up, make it a little bit different. It doesn't have to be exact color callouts. I mean, I find that ordnance on Tomcats especially looks bloody boring when everyone just paints it the same color. And if you look at any real life photos, they're all different, even though it's supposed to be painted in, you know, 36375, that's what it's supposed to be painted in. They almost never come out in that colour. So these last two sparrows are going to be in different colours. They'll be mainly in the 36375 and also the sidewinders as well. So I better get cracking. It's getting really late. What's this? Oh, yeah, I need to paint that. Oh, and I need to paint. Don't forget this. That's supposed to be in the... This is the nozzle end. This is supposed to be in the colour of the... I don't know what that is. I have to make that up. All right, let's get into it. Time to weather up these drop tanks. Just going to get some light on the subject there. I've already done the big ones before I put the camera on, but basically what I want to do is just really muddy up underneath. The paintwork's done enough to the sides and so forth. Underneath, these things get really, really dirty. So I've just done that one, and this one has got more streaks and not much staining there. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'll show you on the smaller ones, I guess. I've started to apply just a little bit of the faded grey on the Tamiya one. So all I've done is used a little bit of the faded grey, and I've stippled that. I've already stippled that into the surface. Now what I've done is I actually put down fairly diluted Starship filth, and that's those little brown dots you can see there. For some reason my camera's decided to give up colour contrast right now, just when I'm just filming this. That's great. So I'm just going to dab in a little bit, and my compressor's decided to come on. Why not? Let's all have a party. Okay, so all I'm doing, if you can hear me over the bloody thing, is I just want to lightly dab in those colours, like so, and then I want to add a bit more. So the secret with this is a little bit at a time, so tiny drops. Where are we? Where's the bottom? Oh, that's the bottom. Okay, so I don't want to cover the chipping that I've done, so I just want to do a couple little drops. Maybe around some of these fuel. That's a big drop. Okay. And get the stippling brush and just some hair and some air, as Bob Ross used to say. Just slightly damp that in so you got some stains. Now you can just continue to build this up and go and go and go. You can go as dirty or as clean as you want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my clean brush. I'll dip that into my odorless thinners. I use the Mona Lisa artist brand, and I'll see if I can create some streaks. So what I'll do is I'll just grab one of those bits and just pull it backwards, like so. Okay, we're getting some minor streaks. I need a bit more oil, so I'll do a little bit more here. Might have to tidy this up in the editing. Note to self. Okay, so I'm just pulling that back. So the stuff that I've already worked on, I can rehydrate and make more streaks. There's almost no oil in that. We're getting the sort of the point there, I hope you can see. So what I'll do is I'll just work in a few more little blends there. I might go for just a little bit. What have I done on the other one? Because I want to make one relatively clean, one. I've done nothing on the other one, so go to town on this one. Okay, what do we do? Let's go for some more. Oh, I've got the load of motorbikes going off as well. Picked a perfect time to do some filming. So I'm going to go a little bit more of the Starship filth. I'm just going to spread that around. I'm actually filming that, yes. Okay. So I want to make that sort of a diffused sort of stain there. That's a good one. That's a good one. And because I don't want to have all the same tones, I need to change it up a little bit. I might try. I've got some Payne's grey out here. It might be a bit too dark. We'll just see what it does. Haven't used it yet. I've got it actually out for the wing sweep. From memory, it's not too bad. It's almost like a grease stain. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to use my really soft round just to sort of meld that in. See that sort of melding into darkest stain. Got to be careful sometimes not to have the same brush effects all the time. It'll just start to look like the same everywhere. I see that sometimes in a lot of weathering. It's just, you're just applying the same technique everywhere. You've got to actually change it. In fact, that one I think I'll just smooth out. I'm pretty happy with that. That'll do. Looks alright. I'll get stuck in the other one, and those drop tanks, fuel tanks, are done. I've started to lay down some of this faded blue and using the faded grey in, which you can probably just see in this panel here. Oops. It's a wrong brush. Oh well. Yeah, so I've hit a few panels with the blue. There and on the sides there, and it just changes up ever so slightly all the way around there like that. I've done some in here. I've hit some of these access hatches as well with a faded grey, and that's what I'll do all the way along here. In fact, I haven't done any all work here. This is all, I don't know if your camera's picking that up, but that's all just using the enamel washes and just doing some micro streaks and so forth. Down there, I'll just show you what I'm doing with the faded grey. So I'll get a little bit and we'll put some in that panel there. Not much. I think that one's wet. Let's go for a different brush. Okay, and all I'm doing is just blending it in. Now that's changed the tone of that panel compared to its brothers and sisters next door. So that's what you want to do all the way along, and everything else like that. Let's do another one with, say, with dark brown. Let's see, I just want to hit that one there. That's probably a bit too much. Okay, and just going to streak that back a bit. See that? You've got a nice little leak from there, and you can clean that up even further. The way I like to clean it, I've done a few wing streaks already on the Revell, is just get a wet brush there and just flick it back. And what it does, when it dries, it'll leave the smallest amount of, just drag that like that, it'll leave the smallest amount of oil going backwards like that. So this is a tedious process, but it does garnish some really good results. Let's just do a bit of Starship filth there, and maybe here, and do some streaks. So there we go, streaks coming through. And that's what we want, just that subtle, oops, did I do that in camera? Just some subtle streaks going back and forth. Alright, call that a night and we'll get started again tomorrow. Coming to the end, there's a few things left to do. I've done the all weathering. It's not quite dry yet, but I'll put a flat coat on it probably tomorrow morning when I'm done. I forgot to paint the, or maybe I didn't forget, and this is just how it was done, I can't remember, the arrestor hook for the Revell. So I'll just mask this up. I'm going to paint that black and then paint the white stripes, and I need to paint the metal leading edge on both of them actually. Once that's done, I can paint nav lights, although I have run into a problem. I remember months ago when I started this. Swing you around. Yes, Penny, I know, I'm getting there. If you can hear it off screen, I actually carved out the attachment points, the sprue attachment points for the wings were really bad, and they were from memory. I think I'm right, they were there, and it was really mangled. So I thought I'll just cut it out and I'll chuck in some clear parts later. Oh yeah, and I painted those formation light thingies. And I've got a piece of tape on my finger. So what I'm going to have to do is find some clear parts that will sort of fit in there. I'll glue them in, shape them and paint them. Last minute thing. And then the other thing I need to do, the TCS pods and the, oh, I'm pointing off camera, you can't bloody see. The TCS pods underneath here, I won't touch it because my fingers are wet with paint, but underneath the chin pod, I've got to put the lenses in there. I've got to do a few, there's like 4 or 5 little tiny things that take 5 minutes each to finish the whole dang thing off. So let me get stuck into it. I'll get started with this. I'll try not to paint over all that lovely all weathering I've just done there. It's looking quite nice. I think it's enough. It'll do. Let's get this finished. Big fast forward to these are complete. This is actually a week or so after the competition, and it's all done. I raced ahead and tried to finish them in time, and of course I made a few errors, a few things. I forgot to put the green sort of anti-glare shield on there, and then when I unmasked there was some phlegm and stuff on the inside of the canopies. Again, I don't know how it gets in there. I'm going to change the way I do canopies. I think I'm going to make them removable so I can actually clean the inside of them after I've unmasked them. But yeah, it's come up well. This is the Tomcat. As you can see, it's on a flight pose base there instead of its block base. The reason I've got it that way is I can't actually put either of these in my display cabinet, so they won't fit because of the angle of the wings. Even at a really steep angle, yeah, I just can't get it in. So I've got a little flight pose, little 4-inch with a 6-inch knob at the front. Let's keep the innuendo going. So that works quite well for a bit of a flat sort of finish. But as you can see, I'm really happy with how that went. But I did rush it towards the end. I could have done some more work on the weapons. Here we go, the underside like that. Hopefully the lighting's all right. I'll show you the Revell one in a minute. I have to go handheld for that fellow. But yeah, I really had a really enjoyable experience doing both of these, particularly, you know, the contrast between the Tamiya and the Revell. Let's go have a look at the Revell since it's on its on its proper base. So there's the Revell cat, and it's massive. It dwarfs the Tomcat on its base there. I had a hell of a time with the decals. You can probably see just up close there, that star and bar is starting to come away. Like I said in the video, I had FCM and microscale decals that just neither of them worked really well. If I had more time to do it again, I would print all these up and I've got my silhouette cutter all ready to go over there. I do them as masks because in this scale you can really, you can do all those, even the lettering there for the crew. Yeah, and pretty much everything else can be done masked. So that's it, there's the base. I covered the base in styrene and then primed it in black. I do intend to do a TOPGUN sort of thing again on masks to make a sort of a title to go on the base there, would look nicer. The wing sweeps have come pretty well there. They're at the correct angle, and all the magnets and that all worked fine. The sparrows and the sidewinders, if it's going to get back on, yep, there it is, click, and the drop tanks underneath. So there it is. What was supposed to be a 31-day build and back in March has turned into what we're 31st of August today. I did actually finish it, what, almost 2 weeks ago. And again, I had problems with the canopy there. I had those crew just didn't really fit that well. The green on the front worked alright. This kit, I would not recommend this kit. If you're going to do 132, I would pretty much stick with Trumpeter, with Tamiya a close second. It depends on how much effort you want to put into fixing all the problems. This has got more problems to fix to bring it up to a standard, but if you want something out of the box, I mean, I still think Trumpeter is the best way to go, even though it's got a lot of inaccuracies. It's got its own fit issues as well, but they're not as bad as Tamiya or Revell, and you'll come away with a nice looking bird. So there we go. I'm going to leave it there because I'm about to go on holidays and I need to button this all up. So thanks very much for everyone for following along. I do intend on doing more F-14s in the future. I've got a couple of 172 from Great Wall Hobby I'm really interested in doing. One is a catapult launch. I've got several 148 Tamiya ones, and just today I got my mate Chris Cyber, he's from Luftram 72, Luftram 72, yeah. I just got his book today, so I'm really keen to get stuck into a highly detailed F-14D like he's done. So another Tomcat, because yeah, and that'll be wheels down actually. I think I'll do one of them wheels down, but I've got several. I'm not going to run out of ideas. I think the next in-flight one I'll do it with the wings swept back so I can actually fit the bloody thing in the cabinet. So again, thanks very much for following along, and like I said, next, let's see what happens next, and thanks for watching. Cheers.